Pretty much everyone on the planet knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and that watching the tragic death of his parents as a child led him to becoming Batman. So instead of recapping his origin here, I thought I'd do an alternative universe's Batman's origin, specifically the Batman from the universe of the film Justice League: Gods and Monsters. First thing that you need to know is that in this universe, Batman is not Bruce Wayne. It is instead Kirk Langstrom. The Batman fans among you may recognise that name as the scientist who turned himself into Man-Bat while trying to cure deafness by combining his own DNA with that of a vampire bat. Bit extreme, but hey, who wants to go deaf? This alternate Batman's origin is similar, but also quite different. Kirk Langstrom's story starts when he has just graduated from university.
You okay?
I gotta finish my lab work.
He has been trying to cure his own lymphoma, which is killing him, using bat venom as an antidote, or at least as a baseline in the antidote, and is encountering some success in this regard, but has not yet cracked it. His formulas are breaking down too soon, and he needs help to keep them together, and he enlists the help of his best friend and roommate, Will Magnus, who is of course the normal DC Universe's inventor of the Metal Men.
Advanced robotics combined with cutting-edge nanokinetic metallurgy. You metal men can only be the creation of one person, Dr. Milton Magnus.
But in this alternate universe, Will Magnus has also just graduated alongside with Langstrom, and is using nanobots that are programmed to perform tasks.
They replicate themselves. Must be trillions by now. If you had a microscope, you could see them. They'll all be part of the ship when it's finished.
What kind of metal?
Iron, lead, a little mercury.
Could you do this with organics?
Langstrom reasons that if the nanobots can be programmed to use materials to build a toy ship, why can they not be programmed to build with organic materials? Namely, they can stabilise his formula and cure his illness, thus saving his life. After Langstrom's illness lands him in hospital, Will Magnus looks at his research and agrees to help. Mainly because if he doesn't, Langstrom will likely be dead very soon.
You really are close. I can't say that I understand it all, but I see what you mean about using nanotech. The medical solution takes you only so far. You need an agent to patch it all in.
The two work together to create the right formula, and though 3 of the test mice they used to create this formula die, there is one of the mice who survives and is very strong.
But you, Jerry, look at you. 5 days and stronger than ever. You're the mouse that scored.
They use this version of the formula, and after tweaking it for human DNA, they inject Langstrom with it.
We knew it was going to come down to this. Just look away.
Jesus, here. You better survive this, you bastard.
He does not immediately look cured, and instead looks rather ill and goes into a sweaty and fitful sleep. This is to be expected though, as curing the illness is not an easy task for his body to accomplish, and obviously wasn't going to be instantaneous. However, things soon start to go wrong. Next door, his roommate and his girlfriend are waiting to see if he recovers when they hear some distressing noises, and manage to bash down the door to his room and discover that he's violently smashed the dorm room and has jumped out of a window and gone on the streets in a seemingly rabid state. Outside on the street, he's roaming along, and his senses have changed, and he is attempting to adapt to them when he's set upon by 2 muggers who want his money.
Where's your frickin' wallet, kid?
Langstrom defends himself and discovers his new strength and speed and easily beats them. He also discovers a hunger for human blood, and he is unable to stop himself from feeding. But when Langstrom looks at himself, his eyes are a deep bloodshot red and his skin is ghostly pale. This, combined with his new way of seeing the world, means that he has essentially turned into a vampire. And even though his body has just changed, he is still smart enough to know this and is scared to return home. Instead, he ends up living on the streets for months on end, being hunted by most everyone, until he is found one night under a dock by Superman. Langstrom is feeding off of a rat, and Superman decides to take him in and take care of him.
I was on the run, everyone after me, and then you found me. Down at the docks, middle of the night. A rat in my mouth. Why you took me in, I'll never know.
You were hungry.
He soon joins Superman and Wonder Woman and becomes one of the 3 members of this universe's Justice League. Unlike the Batman we are more familiar with, who has no superpowers, this Langstrom version of Batman has several powers. He has super strength and super speed, he can fly, he has fangs for feeding on human blood, and has no qualms about feeding off of and killing criminals.
Go on, take me to jail, copper.
Jail?
He also seems to see on the infrared spectrum as well, presumably with enhanced hearing as well. And of course, the formula he injected himself with has cured him of his illness that was killing him. Langstrom soon adjusts to this new life, and even goes so far as to make artificial plasma to feed off of in between feeding off of criminals.
Is that Tina?
How's my favorite bat guy?
Cooking up a batch of fake plasma?
Yum.
This is to ensure his hunger doesn't get out of control and he doesn't hurt any innocent civilians by accidentally going off in a fit of rabid hunger. And for 10 years, he serves as a member of the Justice League, all the while believing that his condition was an unfortunate byproduct of the formula they used, and that Will Magnus has been working for those past 10 years to cure him of his vampire affliction, though without success.
Listen, I want you to know I'm not having luck with the latest tests. Every time I try to reverse the antigen, the cellular walls don't hold.
That is until Will Magnus reveals that he was always jealous of Langstrom. Magnus believed that his girlfriend, Tina, loved Langstrom more than him.
See, I always knew she loved you. Even back in college, she was only really happy when the 3 of us were together.
And wanted Langstrom out of the picture. Not dead, but in a state that Tina could never love. After all, they were still friends and he didn't actually want to kill him. And so, he turned him into a vampire.
Even after I turned you into a monster, even after that, she still wanted you.
Which is still pretty messed up. Though whether of course Magnus could have changed Langstrom back into a normal human after he turned him into a vampire is unknown, though it does seem quite likely as he seems to come so far with his nanobotic research, even so far as to be able to pretty much regenerate his entire body and give himself super strength.
I've made a fairly strong recovery.
So most likely he could have turned him back into a human. Though, quite frankly, if you've just been turned into someone with superpowers, and at the end of the day the only side effect is having to drink blood, well, personally I would take the superpowers. I mean, who wouldn't want to be super strong and be able to fly? And that is this universe Batman, Kirk Langstrom's origin. I personally found it rather refreshing. One of the things I loved about Gods and Monsters was its reimagining of the characters that we all know so well. And the use of Langstrom as Batman was rather cute, as Man-Bat has often been made fun of for being a rip-off of Batman. And seeing Batman as a poor vampire rather than a rich human kid whose parents have died was both innovative and entertaining, and I thoroughly recommend watching the Justice League Gods and Monsters film if you haven't already. But what do you think of the origin of this Batman? Do you think it's on par with the Bruce Wayne origin story? Or do you think it's even better than that story? Or not as good at all? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.